Good morning. You're listening to Insurance Matchmaking, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance. And now, sharing his knowledge, here's your host, Matt Libby.
Good morning. Welcome back to Insurance Matchmaking. You've got just me this morning. Just kind of in between guests. Had a great guest last week, and I do have another guest scheduled for next week. But there's some things I need to go over. But first, I got to start with, it's just that, that grandparent thing of, got to do the bragging. And on my way to the show this morning, I got to go over and see my newest grandson. I'm still at the hospital here at Cookeville Regional. And just had a little bit of alone time with him and his mom. I keep wanting to say new mom, but she's not a new mom. Thomas will be 4 here in a couple weeks. So big brother spent the night with Grandma. I spent the evening with him last night and read to him before he went to bed. And then this morning had time to run by the hospital. And he was asleep. I got to hold him, and then Laura and I just visited, and so he got to hear my voice up close. Hopefully I'll be a little more familiar to him. Christopher Richard Gravely left his warm confines and came into this cold, cruel world on Wednesday, February 28th. Mom wouldn't let him, she had a delay because she's kind of ordered time of when he was going to come, and she said, no, if we get delayed again, then I'll just go home and come back on Friday. She was not going to have a leap baby. But Christopher Richard Gravely, 7 pounds, 13 ounces, and my goodness, I have never seen a baby with so much hair. So it's just amazing how much hair this kid's got on his head. He was not a bald baby like it's typical, so hopefully it won't all fall out. But, like I said, got to do the grandpa thing, do the bragging, and it was really nice just, the three of us this morning to be able to just have a little visit time and get to cuddle the newborn and then come and talk to you folks and then carry on my day. So one of the things that's come up lately that really has, it's kind of troubling. I'm not sure if it's just a matter of we've been doing this for a while, so now it's people are finding those loopholes, to scam the system or whatever. But we really have been seeing a rash of people's healthcare enrollments messed up, switched to a different plan, not enrolled in the plan they thought they were, not having the coverage, and just not where they should be. There's been some fixes to it, but it's one of those things. It's actually it's too easy to switch somebody's plan with just a little bit of information. The CMS has come out with a consent form that kind of helps, and I actually like it. It's one of those times CMS has made a rule that's added to my workload, but I actually like this one because it does require us to have proof that we're acting on this client's behalf with the healthcare marketplace, ACA, also known as Obamacare, whatever you want to call it. That is what most people have for health insurance if they're not getting it through their work. So it's been too simple for some. You sit down with someone, you go over their options, you figure out their income, what tax credit they can get, you get all that stuff set up, and you get them enrolled in a plan. And of course, we do like to earn a commission, and so a lot of times your commission just kind of stops, and you don't know that for a month or two because sometimes the companies are a little slow getting that commission out there, so you don't really notice that maybe they're not your client anymore. And usually, a lot of times when you find out, it's not just that you didn't get paid, but they'll call you up and go, I went to the doctor and they say I don't have insurance, and when I go to try to investigate, and I can't find anything, I can't talk to the company because I'm not their agent, which I'm supposed to be. So those are some things that get really kind of scary. So I do recommend, if you have a plan through the healthcare marketplace, you don't have to be my client, or maybe you did it on your own, you can get with us. We can help you figure it out. You should have an ID card for that company, and just call that customer service number and verify that you are enrolled in the plan that you thought you enrolled in. We've got people who they get enrollment paperwork. They get that enrollment paperwork, and I didn't enroll in this plan. How did I get enrolled in this plan? And then they have to fight and try to get enrolled in the plan they were supposed to. So there's a bunch of different things that happen. So I do encourage people to go ahead and you can call the marketplace and make sure you're enrolled in the plan you are. And if you've used an agent like myself, you can call the marketplace and ask them, is is Matt Libby still showing as my agent, or is Joe Smith my agent? And then they'll tell you, no, it's Susie Brown. And you're like, I don't know Susie Brown, and I've never talked to Susie Brown. You've got some fraud going on there. So that's some issues. The other one is it just sometimes, watch too. Hopefully your agent told you when you first enrolled. If you did, trust me, if you enrolled through my office, myself and my agents will tell you if there's other requirements that you need to perform. I mean, you'll get emails and you'll get letters and things like that telling you, but sometimes what'll happen, sometimes because of job changes or whatever, when you're filling out your application for health insurance, your income, you're saying you earned a lot less than what you were before. And they'll say, well, send us proof of your income, so make sure you're getting you are entitled to the tax credit you're getting. The thing I find really funny on that is I've had clients that are making more money, and so they change what their income is, and I guess their algorithm just states up, if there's a much discrepancy in income, we need more proof. I don't understand why, if someone's saying, hey, I made more money than I did last year and I don't qualify for as much tax credit, that they have to prove that they're making more money. But I have seen that happen. But there's little things like that. A mix-up on the Social Security number, just little things like that. Or, sometimes we can get what's called an SEP, special enrollment period, for someone who's recently lost coverage or has lost coverage. So sometimes the marketplace will require proof that coverage ended and they're qualified for a special enrollment. And usually it's, like I said, it's even a employer plan, or generally moving from another state. You don't usually have to prove anything other than just state where you were, but you had to have creditable coverage in that other state. So if you didn't have health insurance and you just moved in the last month, that moving from one state to another is not a special enrollment just because you moved. It has to be because you're losing your other coverage because you moved. And again, that's something you get when you work with a local agent. The other thing is, why wouldn't you work with a local agent? Sometimes the confusion is they think that we're just going to charge you a whole, arm and a leg because we work on commission, and we're going to. And actually, it's actually the opposite. We do get paid commission. And with the healthcare marketplace plan, it's a fixed rate. It doesn't matter if your net premium is zero or you don't qualify for a tax credit at all, and the $1,400 a month premium for that plan, you have to pay it all yourself. I'm still going to get paid the same. So why wouldn't I try to save you some money and have you tell all your friends and family that Matt saved me a bunch of money on my health insurance, you should talk to him. That's how I operate, and that's how I want to keep going. I got both Bree and Kalia in the office. Both of them are certified to write the marketplace plan. So, you got three of us that can help you make sure you're getting on the right plan. As I've mentioned before in the previous show, we've moved the office. I've already had a couple people go to the Willow office looking for us, but they were able to find us and still made it to the office on South Jefferson. So that's been a pretty good move for us. We've got a little more room to get things done. To me, I think it's a little easier to get to, even dealing with the construction. But traffic on Willow can be a nightmare sometimes. Around on Jefferson, it's not too bad, except like during school open and closing times, or sometimes you'll have a one-way traffic because of the construction. But usually the only issue you have with traffic is when you get up to the intersection of Jefferson and 40. So love to have you stop by, or if nothing else, just stop by and say, hey, I heard you on the radio, I want to see your new office, and just say hi. The other thing is, I've got some things I've been kind of working on, looking at maybe doing some like lunch and learn type classes at the office. We've got room there, we've got TV on the wall where we can use it for to do presentations, looking at doing some things like how to stay out of the nursing home, plugging some of those gaps that are in Medicare that don't cover long-term care. So those are some things we can do as kind of an educational thing. And, maybe, and it could be just a quick, like 30-minute presentation, just pop in, have some light refreshments, question and answers, and and go about your day. So we may do something like that, maybe, a 10 o'clock and a 2 o'clock during, one day, or, like I said, a lunch and learn. We have some light refreshments. Kind of joked about it. We were talking about it yesterday, and it's like, oh, yeah, we're 2 doors down from the Domino's there on South Jefferson, so we could just order some pizza or cheesy bread and have it right there for everybody to snack on. So it's pretty convenient. We got good parking, good sized parking lot. So looking forward to maybe doing some more of those kind of things. So, if you have ideas of what maybe you would like to talk about or learn more about, whether it's Medicare or life insurance, long-term care, all those kind of things like that, we could go over some of those sort of things in kind of a classroom situation. It won't be quite as neutral on the selling part like when we do the Medicare workshops. That's one of the reasons we're able to do those at the library. Those are strictly informational. We hope that you value the information we provide there, and then come back to us later to when you're ready to pick a Medicare plan and let us help you with that enrollment. Had a client from one of my previous workshops came in this week, and he's still working. He's still on his plan, but I was able to help him go ahead and start the process because he's in that 7-month window, 3 months before your birth month. He was actually in his birth month. February is his birthday, but he's in that time frame of, hey, I can apply and get my Part A and have that. And for those of you that, again, if you haven't been to one of my workshops, you may not know this. Part A is the part of Medicare that most people do not pay for. I can't say you don't pay for, but most people don't, because it's what you qualify if you've done those 40 quarters or the equivalent of 10 years of paying into the Medicare system. Part B, there's two main parts to what we call original Medicare. Part B is all your other health care. Part A kind of covers the hospital. Part B is the doctor visits, the x-rays, the emergency room, the ambulance, durable medical equipment, all those little things that add on, and you pay a premium for Part B. So it doesn't make sense to get Part B if you're on a group plan, because you're double paying for insurance and some of it you're not using. The Part A, the great part, is it doesn't cost you anything. And it can work with your group health insurance. So it does give you an opportunity to maybe save some on your health care, and you're not paying an extra premium to maybe have something to help you on your health care. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to break here for our commercial break, keep this show on the radio, and we'll be back here in a couple minutes.
Looking to do some remodeling? Just getting organized? Consider donating your extra household goods and materials to the Habitat Restore. Not only will you be supporting your local community, but all donations are tax deductible. Our inventory is constantly changing. Our prices are well below retail, as well as one-of-a-kind items. Every day's another opportunity for a new deal at Habitat Restore. Pay us a visit at our new location at 560 South Jefferson Avenue, or visit our website at uchabitat.org.
What's your internet experience like? If you regularly lose your internet connection, consider Gig Speed Internet from Twin Lakes. Stream your favorite shows, play the latest games, and connect with friends and family without interruption. With Gig Speed starting at just $64.99 per month, there's never been a better time to switch. Experience the power of fiber with Twin Lakes. Call 800-644-8582 or visit twinlakes.net.
And now, back to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby Insurance.
All right, and welcome back to Insurance Matchmaking. Just before the break there, I was talking about kind of the difference between Parts A and B of Medicare, and I know it's kind of an alphabet soup when it comes to the things of Medicare. But one of the reasons I like to recommend that folks that are turning 65 but still working, they're waiting until they're like 67 or 68, so when they can start taking their Social Security when they retire, so they're not ready to go on Medicare yet and continue to work and use that group plan. But I always recommend go ahead and get Part A when you can. As I mentioned just before the break, it can help with some of the hospital costs. If you have a really high deductible for hospital, then the $1,632 which is what it is here in 2024. For the Part A deductible, that's the deductible you have to meet for the hospital, and then Part A will coordinate with your group insurance to cover the rest of your hospital stay. So that comes in really handy. The other thing is it speeds up the process of when you do decide to leave that employer and go with Part B and get plans in place. Because some of the plans to sign up for, like the drug plan, or if you are deciding to go with the Medicare Advantage, those plans you have to have your Medicare number before you sign up on those plans to fill out the application. So that Part B can kind of be in process when you do that, but you can complete that application. Versus if you haven't applied for A or B, we can go over everything, figure out what plan you should have, and then do that. But we can't do that application because we don't have that Medicare number. And unfortunately, at that point, you can't go, I decided it's the end of the month. I want to go ahead and retire from my job, drop my group plan, and go on Medicare next month. You're not going to have your Medicare number in time. So that's why it comes in really handy. I do caution, the only time I tell people it does not make sense to go ahead and get Part A while you're still working is if you or your employer are contributing into a HSA health savings account. There are tax ramifications there. And once you are on Medicare or on Part A and B, there are tax penalties if you're still contributing to that HSA. If you know you're going to stay with the job for a while and you don't want Part A, make sure that you stop the HSA 6 months before you will apply for your Part A and B, because Social Security looks back 6 months from when you do the application that your Part A will start. Is it 6 months earlier or the date that you first are eligible, whichever is the shorter time. So you want to make sure you stop that HSA before you start doing Medicare. The other thing is go ahead and have Part A in place. Like I said, you have because I've ran into people say they're going to work for the next 2 years, and they call me a couple of months later and say, hey, I need to get the rest of my Medicare. They're changing my hours, that we got a new plant manager, something. They're not happy with their job. And I think some of it is too, of once you cross that line of, I could have retired last month and not have to be getting up and driving and fighting the snow to get to work, or the weather's really great and I could be out fishing or golfing or spending time with the grandkids, whatever you like to do, and you realize I'm ready to have a little bit more of my time. We can get that insurance in place right away. So that's what I like about having that Part A already set up when you're first eligible, and then hold off on the Part B. Don't get the Part B if you're paying for group insurance, because that also if you already have Part B, that also messes up some of your options when it comes to getting your Medicare supplement when you get ready to retire. So, and I can't go into all the detail on that here. You probably get bored if I tried to explain it all, because everybody's case is a little bit different. Those are some generalities I wanted to cover on that. The other thing I want to talk about, and I've talked about it before, just kind of want to reiterate it again, is what we call short-term care. And the reason it comes up is long-term care, usually there's an elimination period of like 6 months or 90 days, depending on, what you paid for. The longer your elimination period, the lower your premium can be. But once you start needing that extra help around the house or whatever, again, like talking about avoiding the nursing home, one of the ways we do that is with a short-term plan, short-term care. And it's very similar to a long-term care plan, but it's generally only going to be good for like a year. But the other thing is, with a lot of these plans are set up, they're what we call indemnity plans. They pay you. And where that comes in very handy is you're needing some extra help at home. There's a lot of groups out there that'll do it, but a lot of times they're what we call private pay. That it's not something covered by insurance. And I think people get that mixed up. They say, well, I have home health with my insurance. Yes, you have home health. Home health means that nurse will come in and take your vitals, change your dressing, maybe change out a catheter, things like that, and then they leave. And so you're still stuck in that hospital bed, and your spouse may or may not be fit to move you from that bed. I mean, had discussions, when the wife's 5 foot nothing and 120 pounds, and the husband's 6'2" and 280, she can't move him in and out of that bed. So that's where it comes in. You need some help with doing that. The other thing is home health may be getting is like in-home physical therapy. Again, you can get the physical therapy, but they're not going to help you with anything else around the home. I had recent guests on here from Silver Angels, and especially for our veterans that need that extra help, the VA will pay for so many hours of that home care, not home health, but home care. But health insurance doesn't cover that. So that's where, like I mentioned, a short-term health plan comes in handy. And you may not need someone 24 hours, but you need somebody to come in and do more than just a couple of medical needs and then turn around and leave. You may, home care, they'll help you with your laundry, they'll do your dishes, they'll cook for you. Sometimes you can have transportation where they'll drive you to your doctor's appointments. It just depends on which plan you have or which group you're working with. But those plans they begin serving you based on your diagnosis from the doctor. We have what's called activities of daily living, and it's dressing, transferring, bathing, cooking, those things. If you're not able to do those things anymore yourself, most of them, there's 6 of them, and I don't have the list in front of me. Maybe I should have done that, but depending on which plan you have, it can be 2 or 3 of those ADLs. If you're unable to do those, that will kick in that short-term health plan that will now is paying out whoever you hire. And the great thing is when it's considered an indemnity plan, you can hire a family member, because usually what ends up happening is that adult child is taking care of their parent and maybe be accused of being sexist here, but it actually traditionally, I don't want to say traditionally, statistically, it is the oldest daughter. So if there are more than one sibling, it's generally the oldest daughter that ends up being the one who takes care of mom or dad. And it's not 100%, but that is the majority. So if I end up talking about, hey, you want to hire your daughter, it's because I'm just talking that generality. That's usually what happens. But it could be your daughter-in-law. Maybe you're again, usually, and if it's a daughter-in-law, it's probably the wife of the oldest son. But sometimes they quit a job to take care of mom or dad. They move mom or dad into their mother-in-law apartment, or the spare bedroom that used to be the kids' room, but now they're an empty nester, so they have a bedroom that they can put mom or dad in. But they've got doctor's appointments to go to, or they can't be left alone because they'll start something on the stove and forget it and it catches fire. A lot of those things. And there just needs to be somebody around. They don't need a lot of care. They can still do a lot of independent things, but just that, especially when they're starting to deal with memory issues. And that's the other stimulant to the plan that will get it going is the memory loss. If once somebody becomes a memory patient, that will kick in automatically to put that plan into benefit mode. So there's a couple different ways some of the plans do is they'll pay up to a certain amount per day, or you have a certain pool of money. That's usually going to come into play when it's like part of a life insurance or something, and that's for another show maybe. But you can stretch the benefits out a little longer in those cases if you don't take the max that you can get per day. But the beauty is you've got the money coming in. You can pay somebody to mow the lawn. You can have them come in and do the cleaning, just doing some of those chores that are getting to be too much for you. And again, can help you stay out of the nursing home. I like mowing my own yard. A couple years ago, actually 3 years ago now, when I busted my kneecap, trying to think, I think I had just mowed the yard, so I was actually able to, when it came time to mow it again, I was able to do it. It was really interesting because I had to take my cane to push the brake on the mower so I could actually start it, because with the brake engagement, safety engagement where you can't start it, and then was able to drive it. But it also did wear me out a lot quicker than it would just mowing, because I still was, still recovering, still didn't have full use of my leg, and being out on the mower actually wore me out some, but it was also good to be able to get out and kind of feel like I was gaining some of my independence back. So, that may be the thing, but you may need to pay somebody to mow your yard because you just can't do it anymore, and that can help you pay that. Or you won't feel like, I shouldn't have to pay somebody to do that because that's too much money I'm spending. But you've got insurance that will help you pay for help. You've got the money from there. So those are some ways to help with the short-term care. I did want to talk briefly. One of the other things a lot of times people don't think about is cancer insurance. There's a couple different ways plans work there. Some of them are just a lump sum. You get diagnosed with cancer and it's 10 or 20 up to 50,000 or more. If you're younger, you can get more coverage for a lot less money. Because the thing is with cancer, generally, your insurance is going to cover, but you have to stay in network on most plans, and so you're going to go local. But maybe you want to travel across the country to the best cancer specialist. Well, you can't use insurance to pay for your airline or your hotel or the gas money driving there, and you're usually going to have someone along with you. So even if you're getting treatment and you're kept in like a facility that your insurance is paying for, your spouse or a friend is staying in a hotel. So those are some expenses that can be covered by a plan like that. And then there are also plans that will pay so much per treatment. Those plans tend to be a little bit more expensive because they can have more outlay, because if you're going through a lot of chemo treatments, they don't end because you had cancer and then 2 years later get cancer again and you're going through the whole rigmarole of the treatment again, they will still pay. Those plans don't end. Whereas some of your, like the lump sum plans, it's a fixed amount. They know, hey, if you get cancer, we're going to pay you $20,000. Thank you very much. You don't have to pay a premium anymore because we paid you your $20,000. And some of those will have a reoccurrence rider where you can pay a little bit more per month and still keep that in place in case you get cancer again. But the main thing on those are you want something that's going to cover a lump sum on a diagnosis of cancer. So some of those treatment plans will do that. Some of them will have like a $1,500, $2,500, up to maybe even $5,000 diagnosis benefit, and then it will pay for the treatments along. So that, again, comes in here, especially if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, because you're going to pay 20% of the cost until you hit the maximum amount of pocket for the plan you have. So whenever you get and I always encourage, if you're going to get that zero premium Advantage plan, get something to go along with it that will reimburse for the things that will cost you a lot, the things that will make you hit that max out of pocket. And you can do that for a lot less than buying a Medicare supplement. So, because that's usually the roadblock of getting the Medicare supplement when you first turn 65, is that premium is going to be too much. And so you go for the zero premium plan, but that pay-as-you-go can end up costing you more. So that's why filling some of those gaps can help. So it looks like I'm running out of time here. And again, we'll talk to you next week on Insurance Matchmaking. Don't forget, new office, 1683 South Jefferson in the Domino's Shopping Center. Bye.
You've been listening to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance.